No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You've got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Pow day.
Dude, let's go.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Bronco Nation? Welcome on into another live edition of Bronco Nation News here at BroncoNationNews.com. It's Tuesday. That means we got Jay Tust, sports director at KTVB, joining us for his weekly appearance as well. We're down to number 4 in our countdown of the top 25 players, top 25, I guess, most important players, how we're phrasing it, for the Boise State football team in 2025. So we'll get to number 4 today. Jay, I know you're following NNU baseball. They're closing in on the final appearance, but not a ton going on locally right now. I know we had the topping off ceremony on Friday night. We got a couple track and field athletes still alive at nationals, but kind of reaching, at least in Boise State, kind of the dog days of June here. But we got number 4 on our list today, and we'll push on as we get closer. Got the email this morning about Mountain West Media Days, so pushing forward with plans for next season. But how you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. Yeah, really good. Heading off into June, which it's funny because we can say like every time of year is the best time of year in Boise or covering our jobs, but this is the best time of year because it is a little slower. So we get to catch our breaths a little bit. And then by mid-June, Media Days is here, and we just wait for next June to catch our breaths.
I guess Todd didn't like me and Prater's discussion yesterday on Ashton Genty. He says it's going to be Raider Nation News or Bronco Nation News today. But I think there's going to be plenty of Ashton Genty talk and Raider talk moving forward around this part of the country. And if you didn't get a chance to read Mike Prater's column, he took a look at the offensive line that is going to be dealt with, tasked with protecting Ashton Genty and helping him get what he wants to do this year. I thought it was a unique column, actually, looking at the different members of the offensive line with the Raiders that will be protecting Ashton Genty. You can read that at BroncoNationNews.com. Alexander joining us from Iowa this morning. Good morning to you. Always appreciate folks checking in, letting us know where they're watching from in the ICCU YouTube chat. Any questions, comments, thoughts, whatever you got, would be happy to get to that. And Jay, just wanted to give you a quick shout out. Thanks again for hosting the other night over at Western Collective on Thursday night. We played the video on yesterday's show and also posted the video to my Twitter account. But fun event on Thursday. Really appreciate you hosting the Q&A. And then looked like you were out there just letting it fly on Friday as well. And so it was a good time, and always appreciate you wanting to be a part of it. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, I had a blast, buddy. That was awesome. What a time, what an afternoon. It was great. Yeah, absolutely loved it. Well done, bud.
I did hear that a couple of your drives were actually used on Friday.
I'm not gonna lie, I was pleasantly surprised with at least a couple of them, but blind squirrel finds the acorn every now and then, I guess. So yeah.
Well, great questions. Great job hosting on Thursday. Appreciate you coming over and doing that. And then Friday, weather was great. Event was great. We're still adding everything up to see what the total donation is going to be to the charity, but we'll be in a good spot. And we appreciate everyone again that was a part of that, including Jay. Bill's watching from Minnesota, he says. Appreciate you as well, Bill. So, yeah, thanks to everyone for checking in. We are going to talk a little later in the show at Travis Hawks, Jay. They had a new deal announced yesterday where Blue and Orange Store has taken over as the official retailer, at the in-game, I guess, real retailer of Boise State Athletics. We kind of hinted at this for a couple of weeks and knew this was coming. And awesome news for Travis Hawks and company. They've been, unofficially, I guess, partners at Boise State. He donates a lot of NIL money and helps out and is very involved in a lot of things and does make donations and Lyle Smith and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of being an actual, business partner, the Blue and Orange Store has kind of been an unaffiliated, thing with Boise State, and they've donated money back through royalties, and they've been big in the NIL game, and they've certainly, helped Boise State, but now they've got, pen to paper, and they're officially partners. And when you go in the Hall of Fame, you're going to see that merchandise store with the Blue and Orange Store logo there, and all the places they're going to put it up around the stadium and at Extra Mile Arena and everywhere else. And we'll get more details from Travis, but pretty cool that our sponsor here, the Blue and Orange Store, now officially partnering up with Boise State.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And I think they have some cool ideas, and I can't wait to see it all turn out. But man, Travis is Boise State, right? So this makes this makes sense. And it's so cool to see him and his company just continue to grow closer and get more connected to Boise State. And now on game day, you literally won't be able to miss them going on campus.
Yeah, no doubt. And in the it's kind of crazy because, I can say it, like the Bronco shop is like affiliated with the school and the bookstore and all that. And essentially I think we were all there for the spring game. They removed that whole store from the front of Albertson Stadium. The actual store where they used to sell merchandise was all removed, and that's being turned into offices and a studio for the video department and all that. And the Blue and Orange Store is going to go right inside the Hall of Fame. I think up when you walk into the left, maybe there's going to be some different options, but an actual store inside the Hall of Fame, which should help, obviously all the visitors that come to the Blue, and you can buy shirts and things now. And that's going to be cool. And all the other ideas they have, and we're going to talk to him, but I even heard that, if you want to show up at the game and they have a blank jersey, you can say, oh, I want number, I want number whoever, Maddox Madsen. I want, number whoever, whatever. I want 33 Tust on my jersey, and you can get that done. So it sounds like they're going to be able to just print on the numbers and names right there, as you buy it, and a lot of cool, innovative things like that. And going to be really cool. And so looking forward to getting more of the details on that. But again, congratulations to Travis Hawks. As BSU Bill says, the speed that the Blue and Orange Store cranks out new merchandise based on trends is a huge W for fans. Remember, less than 48 hours after that, what was the slogan last year for the, Fiesta Bowl, where they're, dropping the ball.
Please count us out.
Count us out. Yeah. Please count us out. That became a shirt in less than 2 days there for the Blue and Orange Store. So they'll have stuff like that, NIL shirts, all that cool stuff. So I know they're trying to upgrade the in-game experience and all that for fans, and having the Blue and Orange Store involved is going to be a big one for that. So we'll tell you more about that at 9:30 with Travis Hawks. We got D-Ray checking in from Florida. So now Florida, Iowa, Minnesota, we're spreading and I'm sure our friends in Indiana are watching as well, the Buchanan family. So would love to be able to get some of the swag the players and coaches get. Yeah, we'll have to ask Travis about that. Maybe some more of the authentic or actual player and coaches sideline apparel, things like that. We'll have to see. And Todd is asking if I would want an official media partnership. That's already taken. Jay Tust, KTVB, they're the official station of Bronco Nation, so they pay way more money than I have to be able to use the logo and be doing that. So no, I would I ever want that? If I win the lottery, maybe. But no, that's KTVB does a great job with that, and you guys all know that they are the what's the tagline? The official station for Bronco Nation, I think.
Yeah.
Is KTVB. So yeah, they've got that one on lockdown. All right, so we're going to talk to Travis Hawks here in about 17 minutes now. But number 4 on our list, Jay, as we crank up our last week here of the top 25 most important players, and then we're going to move into some questions and some other things. But we've got Jayden Virgin-Morgan checking at number 4 on our list. He's the third straight defensive player. Actually, we had Amarion McCoy at number 6. Yesterday we had Ty Benefield at number 5. And we've got Jayden Virgin-Morgan checking in at number 4 on our list. And remember, it's not just the best players. It's not just it comes down to the position they play. Who are they losing at that position? Who do they have back? How important is that position to the team? I mentioned yesterday, Jay, a lot of people were upset that we had Cyrus Gaines at number 9, but when you also have the other running backs that they have in the room, we felt like that maybe his importance wasn't quite as big as a starting quarterback where you have nothing else behind him in terms of proven depth or whatever. So Jayden Virgin-Morgan comes in at number 4 on our list. They lose Ahmed Hassanin. They lose some guys, and certainly he takes over as that number 1 pass rusher on defensive end, and they've got to find a way to continue to rush the passer. So your thoughts on number 4 for Jayden Virgin-Morgan?
Yeah, I think he's probably the most important defensive player this season. So I guess let me ask you, I don't mean to give away anything here, but are there any defensive players in your top 3?
There might be one left at linebacker. Yeah. Just
okay. All right.
Give kind of what I talked about with what they lost and the center of the defense. There might be one more, but
that's fine. That's fair. That's fair. Okay. I'm okay with that. But I mean, I think you could very well argue that, on that same note that, Jayden Virgin-Morgan might be the most important defensive player, and we're flipping coins here or whatever, or splitting hairs, I should say. But, he's a guy that now is moving into the point of his career where his individual stats won't fully encompass his value to the football team. And that could be said about Ahmed Hassanin last year, where there was so much attention played towards Ahmed's side of the field at times that it allowed a lot of his other teammates to have some success. And so, Jayden had a great year last year, 15 and a half tackles for loss, 10 sacks, both of those ranked top 3 in the Mountain West. And he's a guy that should contend probably for Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. But that being said, I mean, right now you have, 10 other opponents in the Mountain West that are scheming throughout the entire summer of when they take on Boise State. How are they going to slow down Jayden Virgin-Morgan?
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously we talked about, different side, different position, from a little different role than what Ahmed Hassanin had. But, how Ahmed Hassanin now being gone changes this too is different, because we talked about it previously with Hassanin getting more of the double teams and being more of the guy. And then they had to worry about, Jayden Virgin-Morgan and the kind of the question, which we'll probably have at some point that in June during our series on, the biggest questions, which are more kind of big picture questions, is who else other than Jayden Virgin-Morgan is going to be able to rush the passer and get in there. And I think that's going to determine what kind of season Jayden Virgin-Morgan can have, Jay, is who else on the other side can draw some attention and not let teams just solely focus on him.
Yeah, well, Eric Chenander last year dialed it up, man. He brought pressure from everywhere. And so there were contributions from all over the defense, especially in the secondary. I mean, we've talked about it. Shea Oladipo had over 6 sacks, and that was the most by any safety in the country last season. So, he'll dial it up, but Jayden's the guy that, just his God-given ability should be able to help him get after the quarterback and be a game changer for the Broncos next season.
Yeah, and he's an interesting guy, Jay. I mean, the picture we posted on the story, he was number 40, back in the day, and then it was Jayden Virgin even in the photo, and then it became Jayden Virgin-Morgan, and then he changed numbers, and he's another guy that we had heard obviously got some lucrative offers potentially in the transfer portal, as a guy that a lot of teams might have been interested in, and another one of those guys that stuck around this year and wants to be here, and we'll see how that pays off for him.
Jayden's a guy that has the chance to, benefit from this in a way that Ashton Genty did, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not predicting him to go 6th overall and sign a $32 million plus contract guaranteed, but I'm just saying that I think he could definitely be another situation, a la even a Cage Casey, right, where you give up a little bit right now, and it could be very, way more lucrative down the road. So short-term game for long-term success, especially in the financial world. And if Jayden does what he did again last season, I mean, he'll put himself in position to leave early and go be an NFL draft pick.
What are your thoughts on Jayden Virgin-Morgan? Led the team in sacks last year. What do you expect from him this year? And what do you think of us having him at number 4 on our list? Let us know in the ICCU YouTube chat, and we'll get to those comments. I want to get to some of the other numbers and career progression here of Jayden Virgin-Morgan in just a second, Jay. But do want to thank a couple of great sponsors here at BNN, including our title sponsor, rowpaint.com, Andy Rowe and Company. I can personally get you in a text message thread, with Andy and get you to the right people there at rowpaint.com. They'll come out and give you a free estimate, walk you through the process, whether it's the concrete coatings, interior, exterior painting, all your painting needs. I highly recommend our title sponsor. There would be no BNN without Rowe Paint and Andy Rowe. So return the favor, folks. Next time you're looking to get something done on your house in the painting world, they got you covered. Andy Rowe and RowePaint.com. Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com is their website. If you're looking for a job, they are hiring. They got the paperwork right there when you walk in the stores. You can get more information on their website about all the charitable giving efforts they've made. They've donated more than $400,000 to endowed scholarships at Boise State for the men's and women's basketball teams. And oh yeah, the food's pretty darn good as well. Check them out. Again, the SON Management Group, the Nicolason family, we appreciate them. Make sure to visit a Treasure Valley Taco Bell location today. Hey, Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest, that mobile e-branch online banking right there on your smartphone. Even this morning, I was moving some money around from the golf tournament to pay off some of the course and some of the bills and lunch, and just so easy to use. You can do it right there from your phone. So happy that the Raines family made the switch. You don't know what you're missing until you make the switch as well. Idaho Central Credit Union online at ICCU.com. Roaring Springs is open. You can save up to $32 on 4 tickets from Jackson's and Extra Mile when you buy 2 Coca-Cola products. That's right. Go on into a Jackson's or Extra Mile store. Buy 2 Coca-Cola products. You get $8 off a ticket, and you can do that 4 times. Save up to $32 on tickets to Roaring Springs. You can do that by visiting our friends at Jackson's or Extra Mile. Hey, Snake River Pool and Spa, patio and game locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. They've been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team, so they're supporting Boise State. You can support Boise State by supporting them. You can get more information, whether it's a pool table, a sauna, whatever you're looking for, a spa, at thespateam.com. Hey, Lithia Ford of Boise at lithiafordboise.com. They got the pre-owned sale going on right now. If you are looking for some pre-owned vehicles, they got you covered. It's the best in the business in terms of all the options and deals, and they're all certified and tested, and there's no worries about having a melon or anything when you buy a pre-owned vehicle from Lithia Ford of Boise. They're inspected, they're dissected, and they are corrected to make sure you're getting the best possible vehicle. The Raines family purchased our F-150 used from Lithia Ford of Boise. We couldn't be happier with that, and you can do the same thing as well at lithiafordboise.com. All right, Jay, some of the numbers here, background on our friends at our friend Jayden Virgin-Morgan, number 4 on our list, was one of the first commits of that 2022 class, committed in June of 2021, shortly after Andy Avalos was hired. He came out of Mount Carmel High School there in San Diego. 2-way star, actually, there in high school. Scored 12 touchdowns and also had 16 sacks his senior season. Was a 4-star player from 247 Sports. Did have some offers at tight end, but decides to come over to Boise State as a defensive end pass rusher specialist. And last year, obviously, the breakout year for him with Chenander there. Team high 10 sacks, first team All Mountain West honors, 43 pressures. Were the second most in the Mountain West. Behind who? Ahmed Hassanin at number 1. So Boise State had the 2 most pressures in the Mountain West last year, and Hassanin, and then Jayden Virgin-Morgan with 43. His 15.5 tackles for loss were 3rd in the conference. And, as you said, 2 years of eligibility left, but you would think maybe 1 year and he could be gone if he puts himself in that position. There are some, with every good number, there's a poor number as well with some of these Pro Football Focus numbers. I can get to those in a second, but just the pressures and the 10 sacks, getting to the quarterback. Obviously, he did that at 15.5 tackles for loss as well, 3rd in the conference. Would you take 10 sacks, 15.5 tackles for loss again, or does that number need to go up in your opinion, or what do you make of just what he did last year and how he propels that into this year?
Yeah, 43 pressures, BJZ said, 2nd in the Mountain West, top 35 nationally. I think if Jayden puts up those numbers again, Boise State's defense is going to be in a great spot just because it's going to be more difficult for him to get to those numbers with Ahmed Hassani now out the door and more attention being paid towards Jayden Virgin-Morgan's side of the field. The cool thing about Jayden, he plays that edge position though, right? So, Boise State can get a little more creative with what they want to do with him. Do they keep him on the outside? They can move him inside at times, like in pressure packages. They can move him around a little bit and keep the defense guessing on where they line him up. So I think if he puts up similar numbers, BJ, that Boise State's defense is going to be in a really, really good spot this season.
Now, as Nathan Carroll points out, though, he says, despite the massive production, and again, you can read this full article at BroncoNationNews.com. And I do like Nathan's, analysis here, Jay, because he's been giving us the good, but also the areas that need to be improved or some of the numbers you don't really see behind the scenes or notice much. And he talks about a little bit of concern about the sustainability moving forward. He said, start with a sack total, 10 sacks on 43 pressures is a sack to pressure rate of 23.3%, which is well above the FBS average of 17. He said sack to pressure rate typically isn't sustainable for defensive players from year to year. So he said, look no further than Ahmed Hassani. And as a junior, he broke out for the 12.5 sack season, 53 pressures. His pressure rate was 23.6%. And then his sack total dipped last year to 9.5, despite 62 pressures. So that went from 23.6% down to 15.3%. He said pressures tend to be sustainable over time, but sacks are largely luck-based. So he said regression could come. So he thinks maybe the 10 sack number based on history might not be sustainable in terms of the 10 sacks. And so it's just the law of the numbers. And he said if he had a 7.5 sack season last year, which is the expected value for 43 pressures, how differently would we view him coming into 2025? So I mentioned that 17 of his 43 pressures came in 2 games against Nevada and Hawaii. So he had 2 monster games. He had 5 games with 1 or fewer pressures, including the Fiesta Bowl. So Pro Football Focus said credit him with just an 8.3% win rate, which judges how often a defensive player beats his blocker, and that ranked 30th among Mountain West defensive linemen. So not trying to rain on his parade, but I mean, these are numbers that other teams, the coaches are looking at, NFL scouts are looking at, all kinds of stuff. So on the surface, the sacks and the pressures are great, but obviously, there are some areas that I'm sure Boise State's coaches are working with him behind the scenes to try to make sure there's not a big dip.
Yeah, I guess the way that I'd view that is sacks are the impact play, right? But pressures also impact a play. So I don't know. I'm not going to make too much. Maybe pressures are a little bit underrated, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, we lost Jay. All right, we lost Jay for a second there. We'll bring Jay right back. But yeah, I'm not trying to rain on the parade for Jayden Virgin-Morgan. I just think that he is a guy that has some great numbers. But there we go, Jay's back.
Sorry about that. Little glitch in the matrix there. But no, I guess what I'm saying is that maybe pressures are a little bit underrated though too at times. Like you want to impact the play, and Jayden's pretty good at doing that. I do agree with Nathan that pressures are a little bit more controllable than sacks. I don't know if I'd go as far as saying sacks are luck, but I do think there's probably a number of them that are like just finishing a play because.
All right, we lost Jay again there. All right, I'm going to we'll bring Jay back here shortly. Not sure what's going on with his computer, his system. I'm going to thank our second group of sponsors real quick. So when we do get Jay back, then we'll have Travis Hawks joining us as well. Matt Bauscher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. Check out Matt Bauscher, BauscherRealEstate.com. If you're looking for to buy or sell a new home, he can take care of you. Matt Bauscher, best in the business, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley for a reason. We bought our home, sold our home last summer with Matt. So happy we did. You can get more information online, BauscherRealEstate.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. Shopridleys.com. 13 locations across the state of Idaho, surrounding states. Love that McCall location, the Cuno location. They've got them everywhere. So Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. Check them out at shopridleys.com. Find a location near you and download that Skip app. Get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line. Transportation Compliance Service, TCS. Transportation Compliance Service is the website for them, transcompservice.com, whether it's DOT, overweight, all the permits, everything you need to get out there towing that first load in no time. They can help you out, our friends at Transportation Compliance Service. And if you have something good to say, something bad to say, a suggestion, a comment, whatever, anything you like, didn't like from the show, leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/BNN, and it could be played on an upcoming BNN live broadcast. Speakpipe.com/BNN. Leave us a voicemail. It's brought to you by our friends at Signature Roofing. Online, mysignatureroofing.com. Been covering our community for more than 2 decades, whether it's a re-roof or repair, an estimate, inspection. Online at mysignatureroofing.com. And Travis Hawk's going to join us in a couple of minutes. The Blue and Orange Store, online, theblueandorangestore.com. Whether it's coach's sideline apparel, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, you name it, you now know where to go for your source. You already knew it, but now they're the official in-game retailer of Boise State Athletics, the Blue and Orange Store, online, theblueandorangestore.com. Go to the Boise Town Square Mall there. Check them out, and we'll be talking to Travis Hawks in a few minutes to get more information about their new deal and what that means. But wrapping up the Jayden Virgin-Morgan discussion here, and Jay Tust rejoins us. Hopefully got the kinks worked out there. But I know you're saying sometimes the numbers can say one thing, but you're not necessarily buying some of the negative numbers around Jayden Virgin-Morgan.
No, I guess what I'm saying by that is, yeah, even like Ahmed Hosni saw his sacks dip a little bit last year, but dude was still drafted. Dude was still an all-league player, and I think he made those around him better. So to look at those numbers and just try to judge complete value off that, I don't think it completely reflects what a guy brings to the table. So I do agree with what Nathan is kind of meaning, though, is like it's going to be hard for him to live up to those numbers with so much attention being paid. Because he has had such good production. But I'm excited to see what he can do. I think Jayden proved a lot last year that he was ready to take the next step, and I have no doubt that he's going to be ready to take another step this fall and help this team out on defense.
He's the only player on the roster, only edge player with 200+ career pass rushes at the FBS level, and obviously, going to be that main guy. But yeah, he's going to have a ton of attention on him this year, and we'll see. But another positive is he did mention his run game, 71.3% defensive grade against the run, a respectable 8th amongst Mountain West edge rushers. So solid in the pass, respectable, solid in the run as well. So big year coming up for our friend Jayden Virgin-Morgan. He comes in at number 4 on our list of the 25 most important players list at Boise State. Jay, and yes, one more defensive player probably to come the rest of this week. Not on your
liked him.
Not Friday, I can tell you that. It's probably a pretty easy guess who number 1 is on
this
list.
Yeah, very easy guess.
Let's not waste any more of his time. Excited and appreciative of our man Travis Hawks for jumping on to join us here. Travis, awesome news yesterday. We saw the release come out. I know you had kind of told me about this a little bit before, and I was me, man, I got a big mouth. I was trying to keep this quiet the best I could for a while, and I don't think I told anybody, so I did my job. It didn't get out early, and was excited to get this out there publicly. Congratulations. Fill us in on what this means for you guys, for Boise State, for fans. We appreciate you joining us here on Bronco Nation News. How you doing, Travis?
I'm doing great. Great to be with you guys. And yeah, we're really excited about this. When I first had the opportunity to pitch the athletic department on this possibility, I said this is a partnership 30 years in the making. And that's really how we feel. And I just think it's a unique opportunity, a true win-win to partner with the athletic department, and unique in the sense that, we have an operator here that's been in business for a long time, that knows the brand, understands the brand, knows the fans, our fans, and, obviously our alumni as well. So it's really meaningful to us, to our whole team. Our whole team is big Boise State fans, and we feel like we've been part of this journey for a long time, as a retailer, and now to be in venue, on campus, in the Hall of Fame, at the games, etc., is just it's an exciting time for us.
Yeah, I mean, you've been obviously heavily involved in donating to NIL and donating to other projects and investing and Lyle Smith and all the different things you guys have done with your group. But just a lot of it, in terms of the Blue and Orange Store part, has been unofficial, I guess you could say, in terms of you being the retailer and obviously giving money back that way. And you've had all the NIL deals and stuff, but a lot of the the blue and orange store stuff specifically was as you said, as the retailer, not necessarily officially affiliated with Boise State, to be able to now get that logo inside the Hall of Fame and around the stadium, and to be official partners of Boise State. What's the feeling like for you, and what does this do for you guys in terms of your brand and your business as well?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just so meaningful because we care so much, about Boise State and the brand, and so that just makes it extra special. We have a store, as you guys know, that's right outside the stadium in Seattle, right outside Lumen Field and T-Mobile, and we sell a lot of Mariners and Seahawks gear on game days, and that's been a fun store to have. But this is a whole different thing with being an alumni, being a lifelong fan. It's just really special. And what we're excited about is, if you look at what Jeremiah and Cody and the athletic department has done, over these last 5 years, it's been this continual improvement in game day experience and stadium experience, in just athletic department excellence and innovation. And we're excited to have that standard to accomplish the same thing on the merchandise side. And so that's what's driving us is how can we make it better? How can we make it innovative? How can we make it a unique and special experience on game day, at the stadium, at the venues, and match that excellence and innovation that the athletic department is doing in all these other facets.
Travis, just to kind of go back and let fans kind of know your passion and your energy, and you said you called yourself a lifelong fan for this. Kind of going back to the beginning, I'll bring up your pops, because he had this deep passion to connect apparel to passionate fans and things like that. So how did he kind of instill these values in you, and what is it like for you to see that become this?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, it's like what I said of, 30 years in the making. The original Pro Image store opened here in the Valley in 1986 when I was 11 years old. And we were an original tenant at Boise Town Square when the mall opened in 1988. And I, skipped school that day, skipped junior high to go work at the store. And so even back then, 37 years ago, we were selling, Boise State merchandise at Boise Town Square. And I tell this story often of, when I was a kid, when I was in grade school, being a Boise State fan was not the cool thing to be here locally. Many of my friends were, University of Idaho fans. And, I lived through that time of losing every year to University of Idaho in football. And, so I've just kind of been through this ride, from the mid '80s as a kid, as a fan, going to football and basketball games, since the mid '80s, and then obviously attending the business school there and graduating, and all those memories that we've all had, being, we opened the Blue and Orange store in June 1st of 2006. So we just barely had our anniversary of that. And of course, that was the year that we go undefeated and beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. So we had such a great start to that journey. We've been through all the ups and downs. We've experienced the euphoria of that first Fiesta Bowl, of the Kellen Moore era, of the Ashton Genty, Heisman run. All of those things. And so now for it to come full circle of also being, providing the merchandise in stadium at games and opening the store in the Hall of Fame, it's incredible, and not something, honestly, 5-6 years ago that we would have thought would ever be possible.
So when did you dream up the idea of the Blue and Orange store? And I mean, you've been successful in a lot of the things that you've tackled in life. If you go out to your building, you have a wall that kind of shows everything you're involved in. But when did you dream of that, and when did it really start to take off?
Yeah, really when that idea crystallized was in 2005, and it actually had to do with a famous loss that Boise State had, and that was the season opener in 2005 when we went to Georgia and got blown out, and I was at that game. And the reason I say that was instrumental was, we'd come off the year before where Boise State had an undefeated regular season and went to the Liberty Bowl, and we were selling, lots of Boise State merchandise at our Pro Image sports store there in the mall. And then there was all this excitement, we were going to bust the BCS in 2005, we were going to beat Georgia, et cetera. And when we lost that game and got blown out, I remember calling the manager, or maybe texting him that Sunday morning after the game or Sunday afternoon, and just saying, "Hey, have we sold a single Boise State, item today after that loss?" And he said, "Yeah, it's actually, we've been selling a lot of stuff." And so that was the first time I realized like this fan base and opportunity was really growing, and we didn't have to go undefeated for it to be sustainable. And we had just kind of run into this situation where we were out of room at our Pro Image store. We felt like we didn't have enough room for Boise State stuff, but as we expanded the Boise State stuff, that was leaving us less room for, NFL and other things. And, we were very fortunate because there was an empty space right next to us. And so we went to the mall and said, "We have this crazy idea. We want to open an all Boise State store." And a lot of people thought it was crazy. It was very unconventional at that time. We originally agreed to, basically a 18-month lease with the mall to be open starting in June 2006 and kind of go through 2 football seasons and 2 Christmases and then reevaluate. But obviously the rest is history with how that started. And, there was questions always of like, what happens when there's, down seasons, or, we've been through recessions, we've been through COVID, we've been through a lot at that store, but it's a resilient fan base that's continued to support us now for almost 20 years.
Travis Hawk's our guest here on Bronco Nation News, owner of the Blue and Orange store. We're talking about the great deal with Boise State and the Blue and Orange store. I know I always tell you this, Travis, but obviously you're one of the first ones that had kind of pushed me over the ledge to even start BNN. So I always appreciate you and thank your business advice and everything along the way in terms of, and you're not only that, but your financial support. And so I'm happy for this and, but always just very appreciative and thankful to you. And I just want to make sure I publicly say that again, that folks, if you like BNN, you can, in part thank Travis Hawks. If you don't like BNN, I guess you can in part thanks Travis Hawks. But it's been a fun partnership with you since pretty much day one of Bronco Nation News, and I hope we can continue to keep that going. But my question is, we always in the beginning of the show kind of sometimes people shout out where they're watching from and things like that. I mean, we got today alone, I saw we had folks watching from North Carolina, Texas, Florida, Minnesota, Iowa, Arizona. I mean, we're literally coast to coast on this show, and they can obviously go online, blueandorangestore.com, and order all their stuff there, and they do that. But specifically this deal in the stadium, in the Hall of Fame, in the events, what are they going to see? How is this going to change for them? What are they going to do? What can they buy? What does this actual deal encompass here?
Yeah, no, great questions. And I want to say, first of all, like, it's going to evolve over time. It's not going to be perfect from day one. And I, again, liken it to what we've seen with the improvements of the game day experience over these last 5 years. It was a work over time to continue to learn and make it better. And that's what will happen with us on the merchandise side. We will learn, we will get feedback, and we'll continue to make it better. But a couple immediate changes people will notice is, one is a lot more locations. We want to really bring, merchandise to the fans. And so we're going to have multiple locations in the parking lot, multiple stadium locations. We just want to get in front of as many fans as possible. So that's part of the plan. We're entering a new era here and have entered a new era with NIL, and we're excited about those opportunities of partnering with athletes to have, those jerseys and T-shirts and other things. And one of the things we're really excited about, it's the first time that this ever has been available for Boise State fans, is we will be able to print, custom football and basketball jerseys for the fans. And so they can put their own name on those jerseys. They can put a player's name, obviously, as long as that player is opted in to the NIL program. And I think that's going to be just a great game changer. But one of the things we're very focused on is from a selection standpoint, and from an offering standpoint, is we want this to be unique. We want this to be different. We don't want it to just feel like, the same selection you could find other places in town, but something special that when you are on campus, when you are visiting the Hall of Fame, and they get thousands and thousands of visitors from all over the country every day that walk into the Hall of Fame to go see the blue turf, one of the most famous, sports venues in the world. And we want to have something special there from a merchandise offering. We want to have something, special and innovative when people come to the games. And those games include obviously football, but also men's basketball, women's basketball, soccer, gymnastics, etc. We want to meet the fans where they are and provide something unique and special to them. And again, it's not going to be perfect from day one, but we will listen. We will get better. And another piece we're really excited, which will be in year 2, which is being a part of the North End Zone expansion and having retail locations in that. And, I've had the chance to be down there a couple times over the last few weeks and see where that is at and exactly what's happening down there. And I think fans are going to be blown away by the impact that North End Zone expansion is going to have to the look and feel of the stadium.
Couldn't agree more. I love, especially in college athletics, there are guys that, begin to erupt immediately over the course of a season, and fans don't want to wait to get their jerseys, right? So now you can print them immediately. That's like the coolest thing. I worked at a apparel store back when I was in college, like a million years ago, and we kind of did stuff like that, Travis, but it wasn't exactly legal. So I'm glad that you have. You are obviously navigating the current landscape, and I think that is just so cool that if fans show up week 5 and of last season and they wanted an Ashton Genty jersey this season, they're going to be able to walk in and get an Ashton Genty jersey week 5. Who over your time, Travis, I'm just kind of curious, and this might be a tough question to answer, do you feel like is the most impactful Boise State athlete? And I don't mean the guy that rushed for the most yards, had the most the most wins or anything like that, but like just coming through your doors of your store, who do you feel like is the athlete that has really moved the needle?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think that it's still the answer is Kellen Moore. And what was unique about the career of Kellen was that it was a 4-year career as the starting quarterback, in which was national scene, top 5 ranking, 50 wins, right? So I think it's hard to match that. Before last season, I always said no one would ever come close to matching that. And then last season we had someone come close to match that for sure on a one season to one season comparison, obviously with Ashton. And last year, it was the first time that we had seen something akin to the Kellen Moore era, from just driving business, excitement, support, kind of lighting the town on fire. And obviously him, almost winning the Heisman. It would have been interesting to see the aftermath had he won the Heisman and how that would have changed things. But, the other unique thing with this past season is you were kind of alluding to, is because of the change with NIL, we actually could sell Ashton Genty t-shirts. We could sell jerseys with Genty's name on the back, which is better for fans, but obviously better for him because he could participate in, that revenue. Whereas during the Kellen Moore era, we sold a lot of 11 jerseys, but they didn't have Kellen's name on the back. And he didn't receive, money from that. Although a fun side note is Kellen Moore, remains extremely popular, and now we can sell Kellen Moore Boise State jerseys. And that was our number 2 best-selling jersey last year, behind Ashton Genty, was Kellen Moore. And so those continue to be popular. And Kellen was very, kind to allow us to do that. He's no longer part of the NFLPA, so we had to reach out to him directly. And he's always, just so humble. And he was like, "Are you sure people actually want to buy this, jersey still?" And I was like, "Yeah, they definitely do." So, Kellen number one, and Ashton, would be second, and on a one season basis, really was right up there with what we saw with Kellen.
You sure the 11 wasn't for Shane Williams-Rhodes at one point, or who else wore 11?
Well, Dryzen James was here in our office last week because he's CTO of a local tech company. Very impressive. And I told Dryzen, I said, "Hey, you're the original number 11. Who's Kellen Moore?" So he got a kick out of that. And as you guys know, we have a little Boise State shrine here at our office, and we have an autograph wall, and we had Dryzen sign it, and he signed Dryzen James number 11, which I appreciated a lot.
I thought you'd be doing the interview from in the shrine, to be honest. So I was a little disappointed to see the backdrop.
Yeah, maybe I should have. It's
you got to be a guest to come see the place to see it. But
yeah, the lighting's a little weird in there, as you know. So I wasn't sure how that would look. But
next time,
it's been fun to have that, and obviously, as you guys kind of mentioned, like I'm involved in a lot of different things, doing a lot of things, and so I just give a ton of credit to our team, the Blue and Orange Store team. I'm here doing the interviews, getting the credit, but those guys are running, all the day-to-day operations, and specifically Brandon and Clay amazingly started working for me. One of them in 2005, one of them in 2006. And we're still here now, partners in the business. And this is only possible for us to take this on because they're putting in the time along with the rest of our team. And our team is so excited, and they are hustlers, and they just said, they'll set up a merchandise booth at any event that makes sense to do that. And that's one of the things that we're excited to change, is just get this in front of the fans on a more consistent basis.
Well, congratulations, Travis. It's an awesome deal. Josh says, Travis, in celebration, you should raffle off some Genty Raiders jerseys for BNN. I'd be okay with that, but.
Yeah, I think maybe we should. The Genty Raiders jerseys have been selling really well. It's really fun to see and exciting.
When do the youth ones come in? I was in there the other day. My kid wants one, but they don't have the youth ones yet.
Yeah, I think that's a little closer to August. I think just because it's a little different turnaround and production on those, but we'll definitely have them. And I'm hoping. I think we still need to finalize this with Boise State, but I'm hoping that we'll have We'll definitely have Ashton Genty Boise State jerseys, continue to be available and have those down on campus. But I think we'll also have the Raiders jerseys down on. Yeah,
you should have Shakir. You should have a little wall there with Shakir and all those NFL guys. That'd
Absolutely.
Be awesome in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely, I totally agree, and I think we'll be able to make that happen. And Ashton, you may have read of all the draft picks, he was the number one selling jersey from retailers. So all the retailers that pre-order the jerseys, which I think is even a better gauge than, what is sold, online, the first few days or whatever. But as far as brick and mortar retailers ordering jerseys all over the country and bringing those in, Ashton Genty was number one. From the draft, which I think is pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Well, again, congratulations. Good luck with everything. Knowing you and Brandon and the whole team, I know this is going to go awesome and be a tremendous thing for you guys and for Boise State as well. It seems like just a partnership, as you said, 30 years in the making. It shouldn't have taken this long, and I'm happy you guys got together and made this happen, and it's going to be great for everybody, fans, all parties moving forward. So best of luck. Congratulations, sir. And obviously everybody knows they can still go down to the store right there at the mall or order online, theblueandorangestore.com as well. So we appreciate it. We'll be talking to you soon, Travis.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on, and go Broncos.
There he is, Travis Hawks. Appreciate him. And Jay, obviously pretty cool with what they're doing. And yeah, that NFL wall, man, that'd be really cool. You walk in the Hall of Fame there and all the NFL players from Boise State just going buying their jersey. Like, that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, I like it. It's all coming together over there at Boise State.
Pretty cool. Happy for Travis and them, and appreciate him for jumping on. And there was a press release that went out. You can read more about it on Boise State's website. And he was on with Prater yesterday as well, and had some more of the minute details and things if you want to go back and listen to that. But Jay, appreciate you as always for jumping on. Yep. We'll number one on Friday. When you join us on Friday, we'll have the number one most important player on the Boise State football team. And Probably can take an easy guess of who that would be, but we'll discuss on Friday the number one player. But we'll have 3 and 2 the next couple of days. And appreciate you, Jay. Thanks for jumping on, and we will be talking to you on Friday, sir.
Sounds good, buddy.
There he is, Jay Tust, sports director at KTVB. Appreciate all you guys for joining us today. Thanks so much for tuning in from all the various states and countries and everywhere else you've been watching. It's always always very appreciative and thankful for folks watching all over the country and all over the world to Bronco Nation News. So even here in early June, there's plenty to talk about Boise State related, and we're excited to do that all the way. And as I said earlier, got the email about media days today down in Vegas next month, so that's going to be here before we know it as well. So I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. You can read Nathan Carroll. You can read Mike Prater's column on Ashton Genty at BroncoNationNews.com. And we'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m., to get our number 3 player on the Broncos as we head into 2025 tomorrow. But all of our countdown, 25 down to 4, is available at BroncoNationNews.com. Subscribe on YouTube and X and Facebook and all that good stuff. And as always, 9 a.m. weekdays, tune into us live here on YouTube, Facebook, and X. So have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you 9 a.m. tomorrow. If news breaks, obviously, we'll be on social media. We'll be on the website. We'll jump back on a show if it's big enough that we need to. And we'll see you soon. Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RowPaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.